say this, and I don't know if this school has, a lot of schools will have a fund set aside for it. They know who are the ones, families that, or children that might be in a hardship situation. And they can help support those, like when it's a field trip, or if it's some type of event. The same thing can be for your PTSA, if membership is an important thing to do. So I would suggest that you look at things like that for utilities to try to help those families in need. By all means, you wanna make them part of the community, but coming up with a policy or procedure or a line item in your budget to have, hey, let's put $100 aside, all the families that need, come speak to us individually and we'll try to help you out. That can be a challenging thing, and also, that's more of a job traditionally for your school administration, not the PTSA to identify those things. So, I'm not gonna put a big no on this, but I tell you that with caution.
Thank you. My question quickly is, if there were a fund, let's call it an angel fund.
Yeah.
That were set aside, could that be through the PTSA, or does it have to be through the school? Or
It should not be through the PTSA.
regardless of if everyone on the way out the door dropped $5 in a bucket,
But
they said that's our angel fund?
that's fine, just don't run it through the treasury and the PTSA.
So again, a lot of schools sponsor or run angel
Yeah.
funds, sunshine funds,
Yeah.
and again, to help those families, but everything is basically donated.
So the
So
folks in
like
the-
if you're cooking a meal for a mom that was.
No, I get
You
but
know the
if
practices, whatever. Right.
can it be administered by the PTSA
No.
board?
Well, I guess it could be, but you're I don't think you would want that. By all means, PTSA ought to be involved, but when you start to deal with your board members, what's the agenda? And even though nothing monetary is passed through that, where is that monetary amount, and why are they controlling that if it's not going through the treasury? So, again, it's that gray situation. And also, there are so many other things that go into that. You actually start to you could create a tax consequence for that person that's receiving those funds. There are so many different things that go into that. So I can't stress enough, your thought process is right, it's right on. Monetarily, PTSA is not for that.
Thank you. I'm gonna move things along here. Next, we had Dean Mooney.
Just very quickly, and if this is not the time on the agenda, stop me. But I just would like to clarify the principal's role in the PTSA. So I'm looking at the bylaws, according to Article 9, Section 1A. The principal of the school is a member of the executive board, as are the officers of the organization and the chairman of standing committee. My question is, does the principal then get a vote on PTSA business?
As long as you're a member.
If you're a member, they can.
Yes, a paying member.
So I'd pay a dues paying member,
Yes.
despite my role as a executive board
Paying
member?
member.
Correct.
Or it says principal or their designee, I believe.
It does?
Yeah.
So if you choose not to be a member, you would designate someone who is on your staff or that is a member, or that wants to be a member. And if there is no one, then that role would stay empty.
So unless the principal is a paying member, he or she does not have a vote?
Not
No one
tonight.
has a vote unless you're a paying member
Right.
of the PTSA.
How about as a member of the executive board? Does the principal have a vote on the
No,
executive
because
board?
if you look in there, it's further back, it says that you, chairman or board members have to be a member of the organization.
Dues paying member?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nicole, can I just add something to your dues question? So, we have some PTAs who, they have, like, say I join your PTA and I decide I join for 2 people, because I know that you have 5 people who want to join but don't have the ability to pay the dues. You can do that.
By all
Like,
means,
I can join
you-
for 2 people and you can give 1 away.
Sure.
So that's a thought for you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Krista?
Christie.
Christie?
Yours.
For what?
I was going on the mindset of this whole, the contribution thing, it goes back to that same question that we heard earlier, if it's to the benefit of all. So it wouldn't make sense then we can use PTSA funds to allow the students to join, because that's only benefiting.
Okay, and then Patrice.
Eric, I had a question. Can we use, say if we know someone in need, could PTSA use their email list and maybe send out a thing saying, we know there's a family whose house caught on fire last weekend?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
And they're looking for support.
Yeah, so
Sure,
can, so that doesn't, that's no money, but we can still
Sure,
use our network.
absolutely,
Okay, good.
absolutely.
Because I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
Anything else, Nicole?
Thank you,
No,
Jason.
I think that was really, I think we were just looking, I think, for some clarity and to hear what everyone said, so I think that's good because we can kind of, I think, maybe put that conversation to bed. I guess you could say that we've been talking about for some time now, so thank you back there. I appreciate that, Eric, for that extra feedback, and Brenda and Michelle.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Before you move on?
Yeah.
You said put it to bed.
Well, we won't.
Okay, so you're talking about it at another time, when we can come up with something and a way to do a drive for people who.
I think it would be probably really good, I'm assuming to talk with, administration to kind of, like you had mentioned, some of those maybe students that we, or families that we know that are in need, and they might have a really good idea about that.
So that they just had a number and they knew, oh, we've got 10 families who want to join and they're still because they don't have the funds, then that would come to us. And we would say, does anyone want to buy one environment for someone? And then we would come forward as members and say, I'll buy one and I'll buy one. And you can give it to whoever you know is in need.
So if you do that, just to caution, remember, that's why you're collecting the money. So somebody's giving you that money as a membership. If something changes and you don't have enough people to take that membership, you need to give that money back to the people who gave it for that reason.
So it'd be great, like, you know, if there is anybody who's interested in working on maybe a policy or some kind of group on that, I would love to chat with more people, and maybe the dean as well, on those things, so that we can help some families and or, you know, teachers or students or anybody who might be in need. Even if it comes down to, hopefully never something happens to someone's home, but supplies and things like that, even for students, might be a challenge for some people we've talked about before. So, thank you. Newsletter. So, really quick, we've talked about student logo for the newsletter. I would love it if there is some, we gotta try to get somewhere with that, to be able to have a logo, but we also have to make sure it's PTA approved, national approved. So I would, like to ask the teachers if you have any suggestions on, ways that we could engage some students. I know that you've been very helpful with the scarecrow contest and things like that. Students, if you have anything that you want to add, please either meet me after tonight or you can email me. And I'm that new email that we have, that PTSA email, that goes to all of us, so we see that. So if I'm sick and somebody else isn't sick, they can take a peek at that, or someone's on vacation. It's a good way for us all to communicate. But we do need to try to work on some kind of logo for ourselves based off of communication that we've had. It cannot be the same logo as the schools. So when we have communications, we can use just the basic PTA, which is perfect, the PTSA logo, and we can keep with that logo. But we have had many conversations about wanting to, developing something in addition to, just kind of to be more personal, but not separate from.
Are you talking like a letterhead?
Like full letterhead, or if you've seen the newsletter that we put out, there's in the
Yeah.
upper left-hand corner, there's a picture of the school, the front of the school. That was fine, it's just a picture of the front of the school to kind of say this is the PTSA of the Founders Academy. There are other Founders Academies in the country.
Los Angeles,
So
yes.
we want to make sure that we can kind of still differentiate ourselves from maybe another community or another state. So that there's not too much confusion there, especially as we grow. Right now, we're a smaller, brand new-ish PTSA, but as we grow, the intent would be that we have some kind of logo and I guess, trade mark to kind of go back to, I guess is the best way to say it, I don't know. So, but if anyone's interested in that, and then the other thing was sponsorship, which if we can squeeze a vote in here about sponsorship, We have been talking about having sponsors for the newsletter that can go back to our fundraising amounts. We did have somebody, I mentioned to the board, this past month, who was interested in sponsoring our newsletters. We haven't moved forward with newsletters because we've been waiting on some votes. One of the conversations that came up at last meeting was how much would we charge or ask for that would be put into our, almost like our fundraising amount. One of the numbers was put out would be $1, $1, that would be great, right? Would be, I think it was $100, if I can just get a nod just as a reminder. It was $100 per newsletter issue, and then $150 if you chose to do two, I believe. So 100, and it would be a business cube that you would get in the newsletter. And it would go so that eventually we can make a newsletter that's much larger than what it has been. So that first issue was only a front and back colored copy. We talked about that tonight. Right now, we're talking about, $90 for ink, which would give us a lot of copies, but if we give every student and family and have extra newsletters in the school to every single student, we're talking probably around $350 to $400 copies that we would need. And that would just be one page double-sided. So if we're thinking of it that way, we might actually go through more copies faster than we thought if we made a larger newsletter. And then that money could also be used for other fundraising efforts moving forward and other things that the PTSA would like to do. So I'm hoping, I don't know if we have to make a motion because of the time too, but I'm hoping that maybe somebody would be interested, anybody would be interested in that discussion before we try to make a quick vote.
I'm gonna say, right now, we're gonna have to table it for
Table,
now,
yeah,
and
that's
move
fine.
it to next month's meeting.
I need to vote on that.
But before we close off that subject, Patrice, you had something?
Yeah, why would we print newsletters? We do everything electronically here. That seems like a waste of money. That could be going to something else.
Yeah, so, and you're absolutely right. So we went back and forth with that conversation. That's the conversation that comes up here a lot.
Yeah.
One of the things is we've had people who've also come to us and said, and we're trying to look at the national standards too as well. There's not everybody's capable of getting things electronically. It's a struggle for them. So even if they're capable of getting maybe the emails, we have a school that does a lot of technological based information, but there might still be parents and families who don't know about the PTSA without getting something in their
So
back
do you have a list? Because like those of us that want it electronically, we've signed up on email. Because I wouldn't want a duplicate. Don't send it home with my kid and send me the email.
Right, and the other thing is, and that's perfectly fine, so if we have, 50-ish to 100-ish people who decide that they don't want the newsletter, that could be absolutely the case.
Right.
But we could end up still with about 250 to 300 more people who aren't getting the newsletter and don't know about the community and what we're doing. So I know go ahead.
I just have a quick question. What if I don't participate in social media? I feel like a lot of the communication comes through Facebook, and I'm really on the fence about continuing a Facebook account with everything that's been happening nationally. And so I only stay on it to get information from the Founders Academy, really. But I have a TFA account. Why does my information not come through the TFA Gmail account?
And that was part of that, I think we added that email link, that data privacy link to the membership form, so if you wanna get things emailed to you at this point,
Okay.
go ahead, at that back table, you can go ahead and sign that.
And sign that up.
form and put your name on that and your information that you'd like to receive.
So do I have to
email
provide you with the email, or do you just use my TFA? I mean, you already have my TFA email.
No,
If
we
you-
don't.
If you could give it to us just so that we can make
Okay.
sure that we have
Can
it,
I use a separate email from that then? Okay,
yes.
that's great,
On
thank
the
you.
membership form, you can write whatever email address you want.
Perfect.
The school has not necessarily given us outright permission to blast emails from
Through
the
their-
parent-teacher association. Anything we do has to come through the dean right now.
Okay.
So that's why we're part of the dean's weekly newsletters. We usually have a section in there. But we can't just send a blast out through TFA. We have to have our own permissions and our own, little checkbox and our own list to send.
Because it's separate, and that's.
Because we're separate nonprofits.
And that's
Yes.
another reason why we wanted the paper, so that you could get
I like the
paper.
paper.
So you put the paper on the fridge.
I'm old school, I like the
Flip
paper.
it out
Okay.
through your email.
We're gonna have to,
Right.
I don't mean to cut everybody off, but we gotta get to
Thank you.
Victoria. and-
I just wanted to say that at one of the first meetings that we had, we did vote on what emails to use, and we all agreed that it shouldn't go through the school. It's a separate organization, and we should use whatever is our best email to be communicated through that.
Okay, according to our agenda, we are supposed to go over committee review. Due to time constraint, I am going to table that until next month.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yes,
I'll make the motion.
so we have a motion to table the committee review until next month's
I'll second
meeting. By roster.
Can I move for a voice vote?
Second.
Do we have 2 votes on the floor at the same time?
Cause can't we do that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Said it in the bylaws.
Yeah, that's in Robert's rules,
So
you
we're
can,
going to do voice vote versus by name.
Patrice, or do we just do a voice?
Voice vote.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
All in favor of tabling the committee review until next month's meeting?
aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, one quick one that we really need to get out of the way before we move on is the revote on meeting date. With current schedules, the Tuesdays, first Tuesdays of every month.
Is that the bylaws? It's not what your bylaws say.
It's to change the bylaw if we vote.
Oh, you're trying to change your bylaws.
Trying to change
Oh.
the date of the meeting.
Cause the bylaws currently say second week of the month, right?
So, the meeting dates, and on here, we also have the student advocate, including job description, and we also have dues. The current bylaws are with the state for review. This will be put out hopefully in the next week or two, if not by the next meeting, as to what the dates are going to be. Hopefully, like I said, in the next week or two, that way we can put out in email when the next meeting is actually going to stand. Are there any questions?
You haven't been at a few of the meetings.
That is correct.
Are you gonna be able to make them if they're the first Tuesday of the month?
I am going to be discussing that in just a few moments.
Cause I'd like you run a good meeting, I'd like you to stay, you know?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jason, before we vote on that, it's important for you to be here, so, before we vote on it, I think you should explain, if you don't mind. You're the president, so you
I
need
understand
to
I'm
be
the
here.
president. Okay. As of now, I am stepping down as the president of the PTSA. There are circumstances that have come up beyond my control that I am no longer going to be able to acquire this position. According to the bylaws as they currently stand, VP of membership will take over from me, and they will elect a new VP of membership. So after tonight's meeting, Nicole Bronte will be the president of the PTSA.
Can we just verify that with New Hampshire State PTSA, because that's not how I read the bylaws, I'm sorry, I just wanna make sure we're clear.
Brenda, you might have a better handle
I
on
don't
their
have the
PTA.
bylaws, but the bylaws
I don't think they
don't
say that.
specify anybody takes over. What the bylaws say is that in the absence of the president, the vice president, the next vice president, whatever, whether you're first and second or vice president of membership or whatever, takes over until the role can be filled. It doesn't, and I did verify that with the parliamentarian during all the emails and nonsense that was going on, because I really was not sure myself, and I wanted to be sure that I had backup. So someone can fill your role, but you need to elect a new president.
Yes. Okay, the board will be holding a meeting then after this so we can elect a new president for it.
Wait a
Your
minute.
members.
Members.
Your
All of
members.
these people.
So we need to come up
So,
with a.
so who's the VP right now?
The
There's
VP
two.
of-
have two.
We have one?
There's
two.
There's
We have
two?
two.
We have VP of membership, which is Nicole Ferrante, and we have VP of fundraising, which is Tom Hewitt.
Okay.
And I honestly don't remember, are they specified, are they specified, do you have a bylaw?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't open it to you.
No, that's okay.
Page
It
one.
has,
Yeah.
little
Is
bit
that
different.
live?
It's not live, it's just recording. I can't Facebook Live with this.
Okay. I just wanted to fill you in on why I'm stepping down. It's not because I don't want to be part of this. It's because I have been selected to go on as appointment next month. So I will not be around for at least 6 months. That is the only reason why I'm stepping down. Teachers, other students that are in here, I do request that you do not put that out, as my daughter is part of the school, and I have yet to tell any of my kids.
Can I just say thank you so much for your service and all
Yeah.
for your
Go right ahead.
So the bylaws, but you don't have, so they specify the first vice president shall oversee memberships. Also act as an aide to the president. The second vice president will act as an aide to the first vice president, and that vice president oversees fundraising. So,
It's membership.
yeah, so it's membership.
It's membership. But we need to elect a president.
How long do we have to elect? I think, well, it's usually you give 30 days notice to your membership, and then people can put their names in to see who wants to be. It wouldn't necessarily be someone that's serving on the board now, it could be anybody from the membership.
So he doesn't have 30 days, and we have to respect that he doesn't have that, so where does that leave
Well,
us?
no,
In the meantime, someone else can fill it.
So he steps down. Yeah.
Nicole will take
Nicole's stepping
over
in.
Okay.
For the,
in the interim
Yeah.
of everybody
Until-
voting on who they want to be president. Okay. Any questions, concerns on that? Okay. So I know we're running really far behind, but our new business for this evening is the New Hampshire PTA. We'd like to make a few comments, concerns on the PTSA performance. We will start with Michelle.
So, as I said, my name's Michelle. I am your New Hampshire PTA state president. I can actually be reached via email with any questions and concerns at newhampshireptapresident@gmail.com. We are basically here to, again, obviously address any of your concerns that you have all had that we have been basically approached with by several different parties within your community. So I'm gonna actually open up the floor a little bit here and let you guys ask away any questions that you may have. This meeting, I will say, was very well ran. I'm very impressed with your turnout. I hope it stays like this. Your membership seems to be doing great. You guys seem to be on the right track with events. So, I mean, I like how things are going based on what I have seen here tonight. I mean, again, your questions that have been asked and addressed to Eric are extremely normal. That is across the board, nationally, obviously within our state. So those are questions we're very used to, as far as your questions with monetary, and anything to that nature. But again, we're here to address your concerns. That is why we came tonight. So, yes,
So my name's Elizabeth. So as far as in moving forward from tonight,
yes.
are you guys able to help us with coming to a couple more of our meetings as we continue to kind of get our feet wet? I'm new to this and I've never done it before, and I'm waist high in it or more with as much time as I'm giving and as much effort as I'm putting into trying to make things be successful.
Mhm.
And so part of my frustration is, kind of walking into tonight and going, oh my God, what's happening? And so, again, I come to how can I make it work and what can I do better?
Okay.
And so, if you guys are here to help guide us, I think would be helpful.
Mhm.
I don't know what the
I mean, I'm definitely available to attend, I mean, if that's how your bylaws are going, I can make myself available, obviously, with enough notice. Most PTAs run monthly meetings, so with that much advance notice, I absolutely can attend your Tuesday evening.
I know that would be reassuring to me, because I
Yes.
don't wanna make a misstep, and I wanna make sure that, you know, we're always thinking, how is it good for all, and how are we
Mhm.
upholding the state end of it, and also benefiting, you know, my students,
Right.
my school family, my teachers.
Mhm.
So, I don't know what people can do.
Your reasons and your concerns are very valid, but we get 112 of these in the state. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a very well-run meeting. I've seen a lot worse. You got a treasurer's report, it's all about transparency, it's understanding for all. What you guys are doing here is nothing wrong. You guys are, and there's gonna be missteps, just remember, we're all volunteers, we're
Right,
trying to just
absolutely.
build best for community and, in school. So, as far as this meeting is concerned, you guys are my top 5. I mean, you're killing it, you're doing a good job, so.
Wait, can you say that again?
Yeah. So, I love the fact that you're concerned about it, but you're fine. This meeting has been run fine. And whether it's been different in the past or not, we're always available to answer questions or to help out if you have angst or concerns, but and Michelle's available. I mean, you're fortunate, we're pretty close here, we live pretty locally here. And I'll certainly make myself available if we can, but I don't, from what I've seen tonight, there's not a lot of concern.
Michelle? Yeah, one of my big things is, I really don't like what National does, so but I gave my money grudgingly, because I read your bylaws. My problem is, there's so much talk about money, money, money. Where's the building community? How do other groups do this building the community thing? Now, I'm a member of Green Acres PTG. We purposely didn't do PTA. 25 years ago, we set up a PTG. We do our own thing. So I don't know this PTA stuff exactly. But where's the community? I always wanted the parent group to be a community building
Absolutely.
thing.
And that's
What do
one of-
other PTAs do?
So,
And can I just, from the beginning, when we first started to have our meetings last year, that there were 2 things that that parents said when they came to the meeting. We want community, we feel like there's no community here, we want to build a community. The other thing was, we want a place where we can communicate, even when it's not pretty, because we have concerns that we want addressed, and we want to be able to talk about it freely. And first and foremost, we're an advocacy group. I know people look at PTA as a fundraising group, and we do fundraise, but the first thing we do is we advocate for children. So that is a huge piece.
So do you have a committee for that?
It shouldn't have to be a committee, because
Okay,
that should be the
but-
foundation of what we do, but if you.
But look at your agenda. Where's that?
It was underneath committees that we
That was something we were
motioned.
gonna
Oh, okay, so that will be coming up?
Yes.
All right.
That was next month's agenda.
Cool. Thank you.
Go ahead, Michelle.
that's okay. So again, your points are very valid. This is what we work for. I mean, this is, again, every school's goal is to build family engagement, right? So you can't be banging down people's doors and forcing them out of their house to get to their school, unfortunately, as much as I would love to. I would love to have, I mean, I came from an elementary school that had 600 kids, and we were lucky if we had, 15 people at our PTA meeting, and we were a very well-attended PTA meeting. So I hate to, it's almost like you hate to think that you're all here because of an issue that may have been, or a concern that may have been. You should want to be here because, like Victoria said, this is your community. You want to know what's going on in your school. You paid your membership. You have a voice. You guys are running, you're doing everything correctly. You're running unbelievable fundraisers. You can't beat down people's doors to force them to come to these things. But however, you're running the events that hopefully are going to get those families out there to engage and have fun and what have you. There's no real exact answer to what you're asking because, again, you can't force people to come. So your community is, your paid membership is your voice for you to maybe make a suggestion of, hey, I would love to see this happen at the school. I would love to see a sweetheart dance. I would love to see a mother-son event. And you can even do things like that. We ran a mini golf event. That stuff is all becoming color runs. All that stuff is building your community, the events that you have. And again, you have to base all that on what you're making financially, obviously. I mean, you have to try and be creative and find those ways. But again, I'm gonna say, your PTA, your meeting tonight was very well ran. You're doing everything correctly. You're doing what a lot of PTAs, some don't do. I will say the only glitch that I saw tonight is there were no meeting minutes available from your opening meeting, which should have been available hopefully to your membership. I don't know if you have them posted online. I've not been able to look, but.
That was one of the discussions that we needed to have under new business.
Yep,
was
okay.
where people are comfortable with them being posted.
Yeah, okay.
There have been a number of ideas thrown out,
Mm-hmm,
and we weren't comfortable putting it in any one place.
Okay.
For fear of upsetting
yep,
people that didn't feel like they had
Okay.
this.
If nothing else, have them available in your next meeting.
Right.
That's the basics right there. And if you can take it a step further, that's great, but available in the next meeting.
but I'm gonna be honest with you, aside of
Great.
having meeting minutes available, everything else was basically spot on tonight. It really was. You guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're trying to build that community. It is up to your members and the people that attend the school to come to those events or to be part of the community. Again, you can't force it, but you're just hoping they participate.
And your school is gonna be, your parent group, whatever you're called, is gonna come together through the culture of the school. So, I'm real familiar with Green Acres. It's a great
Okay.
culture, it's a great group, it's a lot of good people who work together to do the right thing for kids. There's no reason this can't happen here, but I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. I spent a month fielding emails, fielding phone calls, fielding very upset people because they felt like there was no transparency. They didn't know what was going on. I was very disappointed to hear a lot of drama built around certain people, and I don't think that was very fair. You can't do that. You're not gonna be successful if that's what you're gonna do. You have to work together. If I don't like Michelle, I don't have a choice. I have to work with her. You gotta figure that out. You gotta address that, because I'm thinking that's why a lot of people are here. Reading the whole folder, full paper that I printed. I have Facebook messages, I have a text message on my phone that was very nasty. Don't know where it came from, but it was very nasty. Shouldn't happen. I shouldn't be getting that stuff. Should not happen. And neither should you, because you're here for your children and your school. Bottom line, that's what it's about. There's gotta be a common thread somewhere. You gotta find it.
If I can just add real quick, the 5 people that you see sitting here have worked their butts off to try to make everyone in this room happy. We really have been putting our best effort forward. There isn't a single one of us here who's a stay-home mom. We all work full-time jobs. 50+ hours a week on top of what I'm doing for PTSA. We need help. We
Why
need
aren't you
committees.
asking?
If you want an advocacy committee, make an advocacy committee. We need more people to show up for the fundraising meetings. We need people's help. And all these demands are great and all these ideas are great, but the committee review was on here because I really wanted to reach out to people to be involved and help us out, because we are overworked at this point. And we are running this meeting well right now because we all put in a tremendous amount of work to make sure this ran well.
And there's a lot more people there than there usually are. I mean,
There's
there's
a lot of
And
people here.
if I can say, I had 6 or 10 fewer meetings during the summer that I didn't know about. In our bylaws, we don't meet in the summer, right? But summer's tough for anybody anyway, like, we really shouldn't be meeting in the summer.
Right.
I did not get an email from the PTA since January, and I was one of the first people to sign up. So communication has
And
not,
again, that's an area we need help in.
I'm just saying, communication has not been, you've been
Yeah, that's
where it
opportunity.
needs to be to get people to come here, to get people to help you, to know what's going on. And people started to feel like they were on the outside of it and weren't welcome to come in. So, let's clear the air meeting, right? Let's put it all there and clear it all out. But let's understand that it's not us and them. It's not, it can't be. And a lot of nonsense happened with Facebook and Facebook pages, and there's now 3 Facebook pages for this organization, which is insane to me. Because some parents voiced concerns and opinions at the beginning of the year because they were confused because there were some changes that weren't brought up. That is part of advocacy. It isn't always pretty, but you know what? A lot of those people are in this room tonight, and the situations resolved from help from other parents. No teacher was ever pointed out or vilified in any way, shape, or form. No individual person was. These were really legitimate concerns for parents that hit them in the face the first week of school, and it got resolved with help from other parents and advice from other parents. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. People then came back and said, you know, thank you for your help, or this is great, or this is going great, and there's positive things on there too. But it's not always gonna be sunshine and roses,
Right.
because we're advocating for our children, and it gets a little messy sometimes.
No,
All I can say is, I'm a new parent here, my son's a 6th grader, and I've never been a part of a PTA from a tiny little private school, never been any part of it. I don't know what any of the drama is that happened, frankly, I don't care. I'm here because I'm excited about Founders, I'm excited about my son being in a new environment. He's loved it so far, he comes home beaming every single day. And I'm here because I want to find a way to be a part of it. And so that's why I reached out to, I think, to you originally, Jason, and then I got an email from you, Nicole, because I couldn't make it the first, to the open house, it was voting night. So that was a bad night to have open house.
That date originated with this group. Believe me, I would not want to do that, and while you bring that up, I noticed the next meeting is on November 6th.
Okay, so that's not.
That is election night,
And I didn't
so I would ask that that be moved. That was not me.
Can we just let her
Yes,
finish, please, Dean?
yes.
So all I would say is you've got a lot of parents out there who are brand new. I don't know how many there are. I know that she's a
Sixth grader parent.
another 6th grader parent. We want to be involved,
Yeah.
but we don't know how to be involved. So reach out to us, please, because a lot of us are saying, I am a stay-at-home mom, so I have time, and I want to be a part of my son's school, because everybody's happier when we're a part of this school.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to be on a committee?
So, I just wanted to share my feeling about what's going on as the elephant in the room, because I'm on there and whatnot. In the elephant in the room, yes, teachers have been called out personally. Yes, they have. I can, you know. On there, yes, there are concerns, and I have seen some good stuff, but I have seen a lot of good that is not good stuff. Complaining, talking about our salaries, and whether we as teachers are worthy of the salary, telling us, speaking about why is this particular teacher doing this, and why is this particular doing this. So there is specific stuff being said that we are reading, and it is hurtful to us. The discussion of our school demise really bothers me. There's talk about our demise and how we'll have help for all you people when your children have to leave, when the school is brought down. There is a way to say things, and there's a way to help people. But you also have to see the other side and how people are going to take it. There is no emotion on there, so when I'm reading it, I'm reading into that the emotion. I don't know how it's said, but yes, it helps. But there's a lot of stuff on there that is not doing anything but complaining. And it's very hurtful to us, it's hurtful to the parents, it's hurtful to the students, because the students are reading this. They're not on there. They are reading it. I don't care if you say they're on there or not, we know they're reading it. So you can say they're not on there, it does not matter. Someone is getting it, they're reading it. They know it's on there, you can ask them. So the point is, they're talking, the students are talking about, the school is gonna end. Where are they getting from? It is not about, bring me down here, bring me down, bring me down. Because I'm very, it's just so hard for me, because it's been so hard this year, knowing how hard we're working. Read the,
Look at the
she's not.
Because personally, last year, I was brought up with meetings without me even having been contacted. And my style and everything else about me, all right? So yes, there's personal stuff being out there, there's opinions, and you just have to think about what you're writing and who's gonna read it and how it's going to affect people. If you want help, sure, ask for that help, but think about how you're doing it. Because there is a way to do it to get help, and there's a way to do it to just be complaining, or to come across as though you're complaining. I was not gonna say anything here, but I'm sorry, I just want you to know how hurt it has been for me to read this stuff. Because we are working so hard, and all we care about is these kids. We would not be here if we didn't care about these kids. We're giving all. I come in at 6 o'clock and I leave, not sometimes, well, I've been here all day, so, you know, I'm here, we're here. So, okay, I'm done.
I'm sorry,
The elephant in the room, I posted the salaries. You're a public school.
It's not about posting it. It's
Okay,
about
because
the
I was gonna
talk.
say,
It's not about posting the salaries.
posted
It's
salaries.
about the talk of, is this one worth it?
Well,
Why did this one get a, why did this one
this
get
is
a-
the
Well,
deal.
there's children in the room. We're not gonna do
Yeah,
this, are we?
This is the deal. It is a public school. Just remember that. And if you look at the Manchester, New Hampshire school chat, you'll see the same thing. So
stand behind your teachers.
Well,
I stand behind my teachers when they need me.
And
I
also say
will
any-
also stand behind a
didn't
good
see
teacher.
Individual people pinpointed, there had been times where things
Yeah.
got crazy where I wouldn't delete people's things because it's not, I don't wanna censor.
And I've been
them.
attacked personally on there
But
too, so I know what it's like.
I have privately messaged them and said, this has gone too far, do you mind taking it down? Like, I
Right.
understand your point, we'll help you address it, but I don't think this is the right venue, so we have handled it privately where people have removed things. But again, people have a right to have a voice. It's not, and when it gets out of hand, we do go to them and address it.
I will say, my daughter's in 8th grade, she loves the school, she has friends, and I've told 6th grade parents not to look at the board because I did not want them to look and see what was going on. Because I did not want them to get the negativity of, and get a different idea of what the school really is, when my daughter's had such a positive experience. I agree that people should say what they want, but I do agree that some people have gone way too far, and honestly, some of us, if you have a question, that's one thing, but it's gone way beyond that, and it's very unprofessional, and it's very, I don't know, and honestly, I don't have the time to deal with that. Like, if I have a problem, I'll contact the school, or I'll ask a parent, and I do ask people, because that's how we learn. I don't think that, if I go on to the PST, whatever it is, Facebook, I wanna know what's going on. I don't wanna hear all this crap. I mean,
Informational.
you're right.
The social
Scroll.
media should be informational.
It's too much. Honestly, people went way too far, and honestly, not to be mean, but you fed into it.
You can see whatever, I have.
No, I know, I'm
So-
not
so-
trying to be mean.
Right,
but
but
like,
as a new parent, there might be other underlying things that you're not aware of that other parents have been dealing with for a while, right? And so some of us were discussing some of those things.
okay.
But just as far as informational, the
I'm
PTSA
gonna have
can
to
have a
put this
free
to bed
website
right
where
now.
it's just information, where nobody has to talk to anybody else. They can go there and just get the information from there, like a lot of
Victoria?
PTAs do.
We need to really cut this down. I got 2 people I need to get to, and then we're gonna end up
Okay.
closing the meeting. We are already 40 minutes overdue. You'll be in just a second, sir. Tom had it.
Just to clarify one other thing, I know the multiple Facebook pages, so as a board, we have to weigh all membership. And so there, I see the validity in the page, Victoria, where it does a lot of good, but we also got emails and calls and complaints from parents and teachers that felt the other way, and in fact, didn't wanna do anything with us. So we're trying to weigh all the membership, and I can see both sides of it. So one thing we have done, and I know this was an issue too, is we created the business page. And the reason for that is, okay, here's where you can go and just get, here's the PTAs, agendas are gonna be posted there from now on, meeting minutes are gonna be posted there, upcoming events. We don't wanna shut down that other page, that's, people wanna go there to get advocacy. I think that works, and this way, you could take something from that page, and if you wanna post it somewhere, but it would give someone one place they could go where if they just wanted to get the information, they could get it. So it wasn't to shut down the other page, we were just trying to hear both sides of the argument, just to clear the air on that, on why that page exists.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So I was one who had posted concerns. I started, I guess, a thread about concerns. My son's in 8th grade, and I've been hearing information directly from other parents, not just on Facebook or whatever, about issues with high school students and credits and all sorts of other stuff. So my intent in posting a post was to see if there was other parents who had similar concerns, so that rather than myself making an appointment with the dean and like 20 other people also making an appointment with the dean to go over the same thing over and over and over again, that it could be maybe something that could be brought up at a board meeting or a PTA meeting or wherever the venue was appropriate. So I guess I'm just pointing out that, you know, I know sometimes conversations can devolve to a point where they shouldn't be on the page. But, you know, but it has to start somewhere. Like, I don't know, that there's a fine line, right? I wanted to see if other people had the same concerns, but I can't control what the 20 other people who come down that comment are gonna say about it. So, you know, I just wanna point, like, we should all be adults. I understand clearly that there's no emotion on Facebook. You can't tell what my intent was in posting that or anyone's intent in commenting on it was. But I think, you know, take it as a whole, and maybe we have to come up with something, you know, just sort of understand that we're all here for the same purpose. You know, we all have kids at the school, we all want this to be a successful place. And like, I don't know how, you know, where that line is. You know, you don't want to censor anyone, but you also don't want to turn into an argument on Facebook, because that gets nowhere.
My comment on that is, if you post something and it starts getting to the point where it is getting belligerent,
Right.
message that person and say, listen, if this is something you want to continue talking about, that is fine, PM me.
Right.
Email me. When you realize it has gotten to that point, kill it right there. There should be no reason why it should go on and on and on. And then everything's hearsay from that point up. You know, I admit, the past couple of months, I have not been on the Facebook page very much due to multiple jobs. But when I go on there, I get very frustrated and I get right back off. And I'm gonna use the same analogy I did in a different area. I'm not calling anybody a child by any means, but the tone that was being put out all over the place from different people is childish. Anybody who has access to that page is an adult. Yes, children do see it, I do understand. But everybody who has access or is given access is an adult. Act it. That's all I have to say on that. Is there any other comments on new business that they want to bring up to the New Hampshire PTA?
So I have one topic, and we did just touch on this. I think we as membership, have a quick vote about where our agendas and our minutes can be posted. The school has given us the opportunity to have place on their website. And it is, if I were a new parent, it's where I would go look to see if I can find it.
I have been, just as coming soon, as prospective parents, I looked and looked and looked on the founder's website over and over and over again. I read the minutes of every meeting I could, and that's what made me choose founders over Academy for Science and Design, because we got a spot at the last minute there. And I said, I can't read anything on their website. Nothing's transparent. It should be on the founder's website, under a tab for parent teachers.
I would like to make a motion that our agendas and our minutes be posted under the parent-teacher student association portion of the Founders Academy website.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we're gonna do a voice discussion, I'm sorry.
Anybody have any comments on this? Concerns?
Yes, please.
No, just, I
Oh,
wanna see it go
yes,
there.
please. Tanya?
Can we, is it possible to post it as well on Facebook so we can see other parties interested in going to meetings and events? Send out, because mine will flash the day before, whatever it's set to remind me of the event, and so it wouldn't, I think we have a page now set up, not the group, but the page. I know Tom had mentioned it, because certainly the school website is wonderful, but then sometimes it's nice to just look and see who actually clicked that they're interested in attending. I don't know, maybe I'm just nosy
You can
like
copy
that.
and paste.
Hmm?
You can copy and paste. From a website, you copy and paste the link.
Yeah, there's no one saying you
Yeah.
can't then take it and post it wherever you want. We
Yeah.
just want information coming from us, going somewhere, because people don't know where it's going. And then wherever you disseminate it.
The board should have one place to send it.
Oh, hold on, I've got one over here.
Jay?
Jay? Okay. Victoria? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I think a link there would be good, but I think that we still need to have our own website like a link to our own website, and you can get one, is it Wix.com? I just set one up recently. I'd be happy to set it up, it's free. If you wanna have your own domain name, I think it's $6 a year. I mean, they're really cheap. But I think if you're gonna have, they're separate organizations. So I just wanna make sure, like, if there's a link there, which a lot of schools do, they'll put a link to the PTA website, but I think it's important to have our own PTA website. And like I said, I'll volunteer to set it up, so it's not a burden on you guys.
No?
I personally don't do social media, so, but I do go to the school website, so I would put it there.
It's fine. I think what she meant was on Facebook, it gives you a reminder to say you need to be at this place at this
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And that is helpful because the school website is not gonna do that for you.
Right.
The school website does do that, all the events.
But this will tag all the members that they tag, like one time it said like 95 people were invited to the meeting. And so they can click.
One more.
Yeah, we do that. There's a link on Green Acres website to our separate page, only because the school doesn't really want to get involved with, you don't want to get involved with the drama of either place, you know, you want to keep the drama separate. So that's why we